You know what it is, black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy.
You know who it is, black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy.
Odie, Maurice, Odie, Maurice.
Maurice, Odie, Maurice, Odie.
Black and snerdy, black and snerdy.
Black and snerdy, black and snerdy.
Hey, oh.
Yes, Mo?
Are you ready?
Let's go!
Black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy, black and snerdy. It's the Black and Snerdy podcast with Odie and Maurice.
Warning.
Folks, where's the lie?
I don't know where the air horn is. There it is.
I thought you were like doing a last minute.
No, I was trying to figure out where the air
Which
horn
one is it? The purple?
It's this one. Lavender! Welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy podcast. Watch out, Wednesday edition. I, of course, am Maurice.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are just a couple of nerds reviewing a piece of media for you all, bringing you our live reviews of something that we just watched. And, if you want, you can watch it too and watch along with us. This week we are doing the third episode of the Netflix series Queen Charlotte, a Bridgerton story.
So far, I'm really happy with how this show's progressing.
Yes.
The fashions are great.
Yes.
The hair is amazing.
Yes.
The acting is superb.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone, I feel like it's keeping it high on my rewatch list. But another great thing about it, I think, is the storytelling.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The storytelling is top-notch in the show. For somebody who this isn't their favorite genre of television show or anything, color me intrigued.
Yeah, the story, they put so much in all, the background, the intrigue. It's hard not to kind of get swept in. It opens up with Brimsley looking for the king. He finds the king's man. They're in the cellar.
His man. The king's man.
And he's like, okay, what are you doing down here? You're never below deck. What's going on? And he's just trying, the king's man, I think his name is Reynolds, is just kind of shooing him away or whatever. So then he's like, say my name. You got another bitch here or what's going on? He's like, yeah. And if you're going to have somebody, what do you say, another rider, at least let them be in the same station as me. You're not supposed to be going under.
Oh, yeah, man. I love me some gay lovers quarrels,
yes.
And of course it was during this time where they had to, speak in code.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes all of it more intriguing.
And British people are already, super shady.
Yes.
And, I there's one thing about British people that I cannot hate on is their ability to just effortlessly shade and or get you together, because I love it, and them being this old style of asking questions but not really asking questions.
Exactly. You had to read between the lines.
You gotta read critical thinking.
Yes.
Critical thinking.
Oh man, it's amazing. So many the subtext. This should just be called Subtext the Show. Because, no one outwardly says what it is that they're actually saying. You have to, literally, dissect what they're saying to get to the true meaning of what they're trying to say.
A polite society. And in some ways, I appreciate politeness. Mm-hmm. I think that it is necessary for you to be polite at times.
Passive aggressive.
But I don't like passive. There's a difference between being polite and being passive aggressive.
I never learned.
If someone says, "Hey, how does this look on me?" You can politely say, "I'm not. That wouldn't be my style. But how about you try this? I think this would look really good on you."
I dare say you'd be the pig of the ball or some shit like that. The
pig of the ball.
I don't know.
Now that would be passive aggressive.
That is passive aggressive.
Because then you're
I dare say, I do think I hear the swine ruttering around whenever you're wearing that dress.
That's rude. That's rudely and passive aggressively telling somebody.
You must have disappeared in the fat air.
That they don't look good. But you could be polite and be real. But it was hard to tell in these times because it's like, what are you saying? British people, even now, I'm like, are you actually, like, what are you talking about? Can you just be direct sometimes?
Yeah, nobody is direct on this show.
Well, the Queen's pretty direct.
Yeah, the Queen is really direct. But Reynolds finds that there's a doctor in the basement. Brimsley. Reynolds is hiding the fact that there's a doctor in the basement checking out the king.
And Brimsley's like, wait, what's going on here? You said that this was just, he was off somewhere looking in the sciences. Hello, Miss Coffee. We're talking about Queen Charlotte, episode 3.
Yes.
Even Days.
We have just started the review, and we're at the part where Brimsley finds that there's a physician in the basement looking at the king, and Reynolds is like, "You've seen nothing." When they stop being like sarcastic and smarmy, and they're just like, "Nah, you ain't see shit." Like,
then you have to be like, oh,
that's
okay.
when you know some shit is going down.
And that's going to just make me more curious. But then we also get to see young Charlotte.
Yes.
And
you mean young Violet?
Sorry, young Violet. Because she's getting ready at her huge home, like with her governess, and then
all of these homes are huge.
Yeah, they're all huge, like, compounds. But as she's like getting ready with her governess, she's asking these very innocent questions of like, Mom was saying at tea that we can't mix with those other ones and the new people in the town. What's going on about that?
Just like a fucking child to repeat what their parent says. Like, this is why I never want to. If I have kids or a child, I will never talk in front of them. They're gonna think that I'm a mute because I will never talk around them. I will make sure that they are dead asleep before I start having conversations where they might be able to hear it through the door. Like, this isn't Barry, you know what I mean? Like, where we're just like having a whole conversation and they just staying up late at night listening.
Well, Violet's mom,
just so that they can repeat it in mixed company. Fuck out of here.
Her mom's name is Vivian Ledger, and Lady Ledger is just a bigot. I mean, she's talking to her father about how they're not the same, and just because they have money, she basically said, these black people are still niggas, even if they're in a Mercedes-Benz. Yeah. Okay, you still a nigga in a coupe. Yes. And I don't understand why we have to be part of them. They're letting them join the hunt. They're letting them walk around the town at to see Lady Danbury. And she was just jealous of Lady Danbury.
And meanwhile, in response to this, Violet, like, gives her a dressing down. Mm-hmm. That's, like, the most polite dressing down I've ever heard. Like, but didn't you get your station from the king? And they got theirs from the king. And in some cases, they're more wealthier than even we are.
Because they're kings and queens and princesses and princes in Africa. Meanwhile,
we're just some white fucking people who are pale as shit. We're all moonstruck. What is
moonstruck?
It? No, it's the opposite
Sunstruck?
Of sunburn. Moonburn, yeah.
Moonburn. Yeah. Oh my god.
They're moonburn. But that's what I call pale
I think
people.
that this was just like the epitome of majority of white people who feel like they have something over black folks, regardless of whether they have money or prestige or not. They're just like, well, they can have a house and a car and education, but they're never going to be like us because they're never going to be white. Yeah. And that is how I gauge someone's usefulness and productivity in society. But it's great that, Violet is woke. She definitely would be a part of Republicans would be saying she's part of the woke agenda for telling her mom, like, stop acting like you're superior than these people. Yeah. But I appreciate that Violet, like, in the Bridgerton series, you definitely see that she's very, open-minded for a woman of the time. She's open-minded
for that time.
Like, she lets her daughters read and study and learn, and she's not, like, super pushy compared. I forgot the other.
Yet she still wouldn't tell her daughter about how fucking babies are made.
I mean, that at that time they told them
so
enough.
Much for
they
woke.
Told them
maybe it's performative.
She didn't know how to talk about it. They're super polite. She just figured I'll tell her when she gets married.
Puts his penis.
No, they would have never said that. They would have said member
the man
into
puts his huntsman into the woman's.
Anyway, so we see Violet and her parents. You get to see kind of their personalities, which I think, like, her dad is definitely the better one out of the two parents. But he's gonna die early because the father's always died early.
Yeah, the affable father dies early. Wait, didn't he die? How? No, he wasn't alive during Bridgerton.
No, if he was, he was very, very old, and he didn't come to the house.
Yeah.
But then we back.
Fast forward to the present.
Just the present.
Yeah, the present with the current elder queen and her daughters.
Yes.
She's as always just taking turns dressing them down. And letting them know that they can play with dollhouses if they want, but you have a mission with your dried up wombs. Like, y'all need to fucking be making babies or finding husbands or something.
Well, she's
y'all
doing
with fucking dollhouses over here.
She's decorating the Christmas tree. And, like, Brimsley says something like, Your Majesty, this is beautiful. You created tradition. That's such a blessing. And she's like, duh, everything I do is a blessing. Which, honestly, Queen Charlotte just has so many affirmations that you could add to your life. Like, yes, everything
Folks,
I
do
is a blessing.
Also, all of this is a spoiler warning.
Oh,
So,
if you didn't know.
If
now
you didn't know, now you know. Just we're diving right in.
So she is getting this house together. She's trying to get her daughters together because she needs to have a baby for the heir, for the kingdom to continue, for their bloodline to continue, and none of her sons are doing her any justice because they're just frequenting whorehouses and brothels and like theaters at the end of the night with the freaking prima donna or whatever like that. Yeah. So she doesn't really have much faith that her lineage will go on.
Yes, agreed.
Want to push play?
Yeah, sure. Here we go. Yeah, she doesn't really have any faith in them at all. And why not? They're over there playing with dollhouses and they're fucking crocheting like dollhouse quilts and shit. Y'all are grown-ass women.
Yeah, but
still, look,
grown women in that age and grown women
with motherfuckers who actually take the Funko Pops out of the boxes and start playing with them like
you
action
play
figures.
video games. Why can you play video games but they can't play with Barbies?
Video games is art, sir.
That was art. She sold her own Barbie dollhouse. Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
She is a seamstress. She's making art.
Sure.
She's painting and things.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
So don't toy shame them when you still play with toys.
First off, a
video game is a toy.
Interactive.
It's an interactive toy.
It is not a toy.
It is a toy.
Video games are not.
Games are toys.
They are puzzles to be solved.
They're toys. Are puzzles not toys?
Okay, I'm not.
It's a toy.
Not getting into this.
It's a toy.
I'm not getting into this.
It's fine. It's a toy.
All right. Anyway, moving on. After the fucking credits roll, we get. Hold on. What happens? Oh yeah. So they have the coronation, right?
No.
Lady Danbury.
They have not had the coronation.
No, they're getting ready for the coronation.
Well, first, before the coronation, Lady Danbury has to continue her duties of reporting back to the queen.
Yes.
And I think this is where we really see how Lady Danbury is really a ride or die.
Yeah, she is a ride or die.
Because she's going back there and just spewing lies.
Lies.
She's telling the queen how happy they are and all this. But Lord Danbury, of course, is at home fuming and jealous because he hasn't gotten, invited to their tea. And he wants her to...
He wants to be a part of
the world.
You know what I mean?
Which I understand. And honestly, we talk a lot of shit about Lord Danbury because he's old and he's rude sometimes. But he is kind of just like this sweet older man who has been trying
immature man
to... And really is only immature because he's so in need of the admiration and the affirmation of these white people because he sees them as like the pinnacle, which makes sense because slavery and colonialism, that he would think I need to get them to see me as the royal man that I am. Yeah. Because if he was in his country, he wouldn't be worried about that. That's why y'all should have all gone home.
Yeah.
Because if you were in your country, whatever respective country that was, and you had all this education, you have all this land, you have all these titles. That's not what I was talking about. And that is there's nothing wrong with polygamy, but it's also not an accurate stereotype.
Okay, fine. Sorry.
They would have had 30 house servants. They would have had 30 goats and cows and large acres and acres of land. Perhaps more than one wife.
And 5 wives.
Perhaps.
5
but
wives.
Either way, they would have been living in the lap of luxury. Not to say they weren't compared to other people, but they weren't given the respect. Like if they were back home, I think what he say, Sierra Leone, they would walk down. People would have been throwing fucking petals at their feet.
Yeah,
and now they're in this place with these unwashed, really uneducated, stinky people who don't know how to season anything.
They can't season their food,
and you are being looked down upon. And I think that would hurt anyone. Look
like you're less than,
and
especially when you're that wealthy. Like,
and you know who like. When Lady Danbury went to Lady Agatha, the Princess Agatha, and she was like, "Oh, you just want money," and she's like, "Bitch, I have money. Yeah. My husband's father is the king of Sierra Leone. The same way you're queen of a country, I'm the same royal bloodline. So don't get it twisted." But they were not being treated as if they were royalty. Right. They were being treated as if they were second class. Now, I could understand how that could have made him very insecure.
It created a complex.
And so he's so thirsty to get this approval. Ooh, he is begging her to make sure that the princess allows them to have the first ball of the season, because this time there's nothing else for people to do but to go to fucking balls and pillage or something. And he wanted to be the one to do it so that he could get the title of I'm the man with the plan. Look at my house.
Look at my house.
Come eat my food.
Look how great of a guest I am with all of my servants.
Look
I'm
at my powerful
servants.
Black
my
man.
servants are top tier servants.
Listen to this music I have. Look at all these things. Blah 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 blah.
I got me some Alicia Keys on deck, with the violins and the cellos.
I play the bops.
Yes.
Okay.
They play the bops. Yeah.
The classical bops.
Yeah.
But then
we get to coronation,
and it's a very that there's some strife between the queen and king. Yeah. Because obviously, if she's sending her manservant to go walk around looking for him, there's obviously some issues. Yeah. But they go through all the pomp and circumstance.
It's a very performative.
They're holding hands and smiling and
laughing
kissing
at
and
each
flirting.
other. Yeah, doing all of the making. They're really doing a great job of acting and playing this up like they are a lovely married couple for the kingdom.
And I mean, that's kind of what you have to do when you're royalty or when you're leaders of any kind. You have to put on airs for people. But the moment they get into the house, she's just like, "Get this stupid crown off me.
Get this shit off me.
I'm about to go to my side of the house.
Get away from me. Stop touching me. Don't touch my hand."
And it's both she's still angry and hurt from what she heard him saying to his mother about just marrying her for the sake of duty and not really loving her. And you see that they're showing little flashbacks of her and Lady Danbury talking. She's like, "I hate him. He's stupid. He's the worst." And Lady Danbury's like, "I understand you just have to endure, how's the baby making going?" And she's like, "Well, I mean, I'm doing it, but I hate it." And you just see even they've made a decision that on the even days they're gonna have sex, try to make this baby.
Hence the title of the episode, yes. Even days.
And so they're, I don't know, what do you call their handsmen or manservants are having to subtly remind them "Hey, it's an even day, I don't need to fuck."
Brimsley and Reynolds are gonna it's time for you to fuck.
And so they go and act like they're just so annoyed, and she's like, "Oh, well, let's do this so I'll never have to see you again." And he's like, "Fine, so I never have to hear your voice." But then they get into the room and they are
having the angriest,
passionate,
I would say passionate, not
passionate sex.
it's mad sex. It's it's not sex. It'd be one thing if it was like sex out of convenience because like it'd be lifeless. But like they are enjoying themselves. They're in the throes of passion. And it was this scene right here when I realized that I completely understand the appeal of this show to women. Like this gets you wet. Like I get it.
Why?
Like, totally,
what is it about this that you understand about?
Of course,
women?
you're just like, oh, this man who she can't stand, but they have the most passionate love in the world, like, and all this other shit. Like, I get it. I get why this gets women frothing in the loins.
Frothing.
It's the same effect that Grey's, not a Grey's Anatomy, 50 Shades of Grey had. It's just like, ooh, this man who is handsome, but he's mysterious, and I can't stand him, but the sex is amazing, and it's just fuck fest city.
I think that sometimes when people, there's a thin line between love and hate. And I think sometimes when people are so angry, they're so angry that they can't just talk it out, but they can fuck it out. And they, especially if they actually do care about each other and love each other, because it's not like she doesn't love him and care for him. She's just angry at him, and she doesn't want to show him that she still loves him and wants to like be with him. But this is the only way that she could do it while keeping like her pride and not wanting to inflate his ego and be like, I love you.
It's a mix cadre of emotions.
Yes.
That are swirling around. Even if they're at the dinner table, they're playing this like fucking back and forth tete-a-tete of I hate you, but oh, when we fuck, we have the most passion. See, they start getting it on at dinner time,
fire.
And they had to fucking, for a little bit, the staff is just standing there, just like
they have
watching.
to tell them to leave.
They have to be like the manservants have to be like, all right, come on,
guys, get out, shoo.
Listen, you can't see the royal vagina.
Now it's interesting that like the king and queen are being so prim and proper like throughout the day, but that you're perfectly fine with fucking in front of other people. I guess because they feel like their staff is probably like invisible to them at that point.
This was the equivalent of NDAs back then. It's just like,
because I mean the thing is, you're around these people all day, all the time. Brimsley's walking behind. Yeah, like Brimsley's walking behind you every 5 paces. So you really don't have much privacy. So you're gonna have to like compartmentalize. Or all the royals were just, not even just royals. Anyone who has house servants is just really freaky and wants to have other people watch them have sex.
Can I be honest with you?
Which I think it's a bit of both.
Can I be honest with you? After hedonism, I wish I had a servant who could just be here for any time that I fuck. Just be on the other side of the door. And
like
then
peering in?
No, not peering in. Just on the other side of the door. It's just so that I know that they're there. You know what I mean? Like it's purely for my own edification. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, oh, there's somebody on the other side of the door. They're listening. Let me dial it up from a B to
put
a
on
B
a show.
plus.
But they are having a lot of hot sex. They're having sex in the kitchen. They're having sex in the bed. They're having sex in the tub. Like, there's just all this sex. And I just want to say, this show proves that your grannies, all of our grannies, were fucking in those long-ass nightgowns. Because she's not wearing La Pearl or freaking Fredericks of Hollywood. She's wearing these big granny nightgowns. And she's still getting fucked. So
yeah, she is.
Don't stress yourself. Wear that tatty
Granny
old t-shirt.
Was a freak, and she got it in that one weird muumuu that she used to wear, that all grandmother used to wear, puttering around the house. She was futtering around the house. That's
she was.
Fuck puttering.
Fuck puttering around.
Fuck puttering around the house. Oh yeah. She finally stands up for herself and says, "Look, these orangery motherfuckers. Like, I can pick my own oranges. Y'all have to get the fuck out of here." Which then, I thought was just a throwaway scene. I'm just like, why is this scene here?
Well, I mean, we have that scene so that Brimsley can accidentally spill the beans about the king.
Of course, it's a gay who's spilling the tea.
He's like,
enduring pride.
Because she's like, oh, why? I wonder what's going on with the prince or the king or whatever. And he's like, oh, maybe it's has something to do with the doctor. And she's like, the doctor? What doctor? And then he tells her, but this causes a little strife between Brimsley and his boyfriend Reynolds.
Yeah.
Because he didn't say he wasn't gonna say anything, but he kind of, it was implied.
It was implied, like, yo, you saw nothing, so that means say nothing. But, like, this lets you know you have to get it confirmed. You have to, that's why I now appreciate anytime my parent was just like, what am I? Proper. Anytime my mom was like, did you hear me? And I was like, yeah. So now there's no plausible deniability. Mm-hmm. So now I can't go into the kitchen and be like, oh, I forgot that you said to take out the chicken out of the freezer before you come home so that you could cook the chicken. Now it's like, no, you said you heard me.
But you wouldn't know how
So you have no excuse for not doing it except you didn't want to do it.
My mom would always get me with that because she would call me while I was sleeping, and I would be sleeping and talking to her about it, about something, and she'd be like, take out, the chicken. I'd be like, okay. And then she'd be like, you hear me? I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, I'm sleeping. You can't talk to me while I'm sleeping and expect me to remember anything.
Why are you sleeping like that?
I was asleep. I don't know, 12, 13 and tired. I don't know. I was tired.
What the fuck you gotta be tired for?
Because I was going to school, doing chores. The same reason that any child is tired, because just because you're not working at a job doesn't mean you're not working.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You sleep all the time.
I know I sleep all the time. I know I do. And, okay. Fine. Fair enough. I see your point. I see what point you're trying to make. Because you knew as soon as I said that, I was like, well, I get tired. So, fine, forget it. But this caused a little ruffle between Reynolds and Brimsley. And I like that Brimsley tells them right after they finish
he didn't
fucking.
try to keep it.
Yeah, like Brimsley is a G. Like, he easily could have done it while they were making out or during head or
like fucking him. Be like, I told him. I told the queen.
Do you think that's what happened? No.
He
got up too fast.
This was after they were done.
It definitely was after.
They were in the afterglow, and he was just like, hey, babe.
Oh, yeah, by the way.
Just wanted to let you know.
By the by. But
that would annoy me. Don't mess up my post-orgasm, glow with your bad news. That's going to piss me off. I would be annoyed by that. Tell me before, and I can decide if I still want to have sex. Don't be switching it up on me. Now I'm pissed off at you because you did something stupid.
Is it worse to do it before or after?
No, it's after. I mean, on one
because
hand...
Because before, imagine you're getting ready to have sex, and you're, getting, super charged up, you're energized, you're every other adjective other than the one that I would like to say. Your live view is very bad.
Oh, maybe our service isn't good. I don't know. I have my Wi-Fi on.
I'm looking at it. It looks good to me.
Sorry, BD team.
Can you elaborate on why, how it's bad? Is it pixelated? Is it the audio? Can you not hear these fucking drops?
I think that we can just continue and let
It's
them...
fine. It's fine. We'll move on.
Anyway, they do all that, and then he tells them, and then Reynolds storms out. Press play.
Yes. Reynolds storms out. He's just like, you gave a look. You confirmed that you wouldn't say shit.
Your eyes said it.
So now they're on the outs, which sucks, which is upsetting. Meanwhile, everybody's waiting until after having sex to deliver some bad news.
Well, she didn't say anything bad to him. She just asked him a question.
Inquired about the doctor.
Because what's going on with the doctor? I understand the desire to tell someone right after sex because you feel like they're going to be in a good mood. Mm-hmm. But he's very withholding, which makes sense because he's dealing with stuff. But he's very withholding, and he doesn't really quite like that she asked these questions. He answered her, until he lied and told her it was something else. That it was just doctors because they had to measure the crown or check the crown before the coronation.
Yeah.
Because he's still afraid to tell her, what's really going on.
Yeah, and we, as the audience, are also in the dark, too. We know that something is up.
Yeah. We know they're doing something to him that's supposed to be helping him, but we don't know what it is. We don't know what he's being treated for or how they're treating him. But, his one person that should know is his wife.
That's true. That's true. No matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lady Danbury is meeting with
Princess Augustine or something. I don't remember.
The woman from Game of Thrones.
the king's mother.
Yeah, the king's mom. He's meeting with King Mom. And they enter into a little bit of negotiation, I believe.
Because Lady Danbury is telling her tea on Queen Charlotte, which it's not really tea. She's just telling them they're really happy, they're fucking all the time, they're trying to have a baby. And so Lady Danbury takes this opportunity to be like, hey, you want to have some unity in the Ton? Let me throw the first party. Like, we'll get everybody together, it'll be fun. And she's like, I don't know, I have to think about it. And she's like, well, you do want to know if they're pregnant, don't you? Insinuating that I'm not going to tell you nothing unless I get what I want.
I called this in my notes blackmail tea.
Blackmail tea. Listen, Lady Danbury just knows how to get what she wants and keep getting what she wants. And
she basically said, look, you want me to report back in on all the stuff that I hear directly from the queen because I'm the queen's bestie? You gonna let me have this fucking ball.
Yeah.
You gonna let me throw this fucking ball.
Well, speaking of balls, her husband is balls deep inside of her. And every time he orgasms, he just sounds like he is dying.
I already said that he sounds like Jabba the Hutt dying. Yeah. But he really, I love that at the very least, Sir Danbury, Mr. Danbury, I forget.
Lord
Danbury is switching it up each time.
Every time he's in a new position.
He's in a new position.
He likes to try it. He likes to keep it fresh. He's like, we're not doing missionary all the time. We're doing whatever.
That's how I know that he's at least cool on some level. Because, he doesn't want to... if it was just, for his own edification, he would just, do missionary all the time.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying.
Not missionary necessarily, but just, go to one move.
Yeah.
One move, he'd be a one-pump chump.
But it is kind of... they have a bit of a sweet moment together. I mean, she, of course, doesn't like the sex. But... he basically is like, she's telling him about the ball, how she asked, and he's like, they're never going to let me have a ball because they never want to let me have anything good. And I put in my notes that black women will always reassure you of your magic, even if they think you're a bastard.
Yeah.
Because she was like, you are every bit of good as they are. Don't let their ignorance take away your joy. And you need that. I mean, he's dealing, even though, obviously he's annoying. But he and her are dealing with a very similar situation where they are living lives that are guarded and in a shadow of their blackness because the racism is still there.
Yes, it is.
The people are still, they don't actually want them to be involved in the Ton and doing anything. They're still giving them sneery looks. Am I saying that was sneery? They're snide looks. And it's hard. But then we fast forward back to the present.
Lady Danbury catches, not catches, but she finds Lady Violet.
Yes, Lady Bridgerton.
Viscountess Bridgerton. Viscountess Bridgerton. In the church,
lighting candles
for her dead husband.
And it's his birthday, and it's she has a very emotional moment where she's just talking about how she used to make him these paper hats on his birthday, and it was so sweet and childish, but it was something her father used to do for her, and he had never had that, so she wanted to make him happy, and wanted him to feel joy on his birthday, and she was just reminiscing on how happy that made her. But Lady Danbury is is just behind her, trying to be supportive, and the only thing that can come out of her mouth is you're so fortunate. And Lady Bridgerton is like, the fuck you mean fortunate? Did I hear you wrong?
Fortunate, and I knew exactly what she meant as soon as she said it. She's basically, and we'll get to it when we come across that scene later. But as soon as she saw it, I was just like, yeah, fucking, you had a husband who you loved.
Yeah.
You had a husband You had a husband.
husband.
You had a husband.
A loving
husband.
A loving husband, yes.
A husband.
And I think it just like she's talking about how happy or she's so overcome with the love she had for him that she's crying. And Lady Danbury is just looking, she's obviously jealous and enviable because she did not like her. She didn't love her husband. She didn't even like her husband. It was just like, this is a marriage of convenience because my family gave me to him and here we are. Which is, it's sad. And so she says, after she says she's fortunate, and Lady Danbury is obviously like perturbed and taken aback. She just kind of storms off, and then we fast forward again, or rewind again
go back
to when
Lady Danbury sends out the invitations to all of the ladies in waiting.
Yes, because she made a plan.
Yeah,
she was like, the king's mom doesn't have to tell me that I can have this ball. We gonna put these invitations in the mailboxes, and then we'll go from there because she's not gonna rescind the ball after it's been out. And so of course Violet wants to go. Her mother's being super racist and is like, no, we're not going. I won't be seen with them. And then kind of tries to like brush it off, and Lady Danbury or Lady Violet or a young Violet Ledger is like pouting at her father, and he's like, it's okay, we'll get you.
It is what it is. Like,
your mom's a bitch, but
your
it's
mom,
fine.
She is a special kind of lady, and we know what it is.
But then you fast forward, or not fast forward. We go to see the Queen is hosting her ladies in waiting, which include Lady Danbury and Lady Ledger and a bunch of other white women, and they are watching a young Mozart play. And of course, the ignorant, asinine Lady Ledger is like, a boy named Mozart? Why would she even have this person? And Lady Danbury is like, the music is so beautiful. The Queen has excellent taste.
Fucking Mozart. Like, imagine these bitches sitting around making fun of fucking Tupac. Or
why don't
Biggie.
you?
It was like, how juicy. What kind of song is juicy?
How about you go and play
a
freaking concerto? All right?
You don't know how to fucking play a piano, and meanwhile, like, Charlotte is preoccupied with,
because she sees her boo walking around with like his no shirt on, all dirty. She's getting all hot and bothered. She's definitely acting like a teen in love. Looking at her husband through the glass and just like, meanwhile, Lady Danbury is over here, like talking to the ladies about her party coming up, and they're like, oh, well, so sorry, we're not gonna be able to attend. And the Queen's not giving her any help because she's so busy staring after a man.
Yeah. Oof. It is a bit of a rough to watch scene. But we get some confirmation as to a little bit of confirmation as to what he's doing in the outside with the shirt off, and he says that
he's farming. He had told her he loved sciences. He's like, farming's a part of science.
Agriculture is science.
And
it's dirt science.
He does that to like feel like a regular guy, He's getting his hands dirty. He's tilling the land. He's growing something of his own.
Farmer George.
Yeah. And
I fucks with this.
Yeah.
I like that idea of just like whenever somebody who's rich and powerful and famous or whatever like that does some down to earth shit I forget.
Building
houses or Harrison Ford learning how to fly a plane, which I still say is just like, that's a privilege thing.
Oh,
you know
of course.
what I mean?
It's expensive to learn how to fly a plane.
I was surprised when we went to hedonism and we had a black pilot. I was like, what? Word? Okay, cool. I'm down with this.
But after he tells her about this farming, she's like, let me check this shit out for myself. And she's like, are y'all growing weed in here or something? Like, what's going on?
Medicinal. She says, is this medicinal?
And so she's like, they're like, nah, it's just vegetables. And she's like, all right, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We're going to go. And then you cut into the King's mom being chastised by her, what do they call, councilman?
By Parliament, I want to say?
They're not Parliament, but they're like her advisors.
Yeah, her.
Lord Butte. And so they're talking about how Lady Danbury sent out these invitations. You need to cancel it. And she's like, no, because Lady Danbury is going to be upset. That's how you know she is scared of Lady Danbury, which I love. She should be scared of her because Lady Danbury is smart. She is a fiery, fun, beautiful woman who is not about your shit. Okay? So get it together.
Yeah.
And so they're all like, cancel it. No one's going to come. All the governors are angry and all they're doing is drinking. Parliament's at a standstill. Like, why can't these men who are supposed to be so learned and so great, they can't drink and go to work? I see plenty of people do it all the time.
It's really easy to drink and go to work.
It's not that difficult.
I did it in college.
Like,
it was super easy.
Y'all just sitting there drinking all day. Stop paying them.
Now I'm gonna go to fucking Filing's basement and sell some marked up jewelry.
And then the next day, Lady Danbury comes visits the queen.
Oh, she has to give this brutal reality check
because the queen is just staring out at her husband, looking at him in the grass, and she's trying to tell her, like, listen, the king's mom wants me to cancel this ball. I need your support. I need your help. And she actually was really bold, which I think is
this was the boldest I've ever seen Lady Danbury.
Yeah, and I think it's a reason why she and the queen are still so close. Because she's basically, like, the queen's basically like, what does your ball got to do with me? And she's like, listen, you are a black woman in this space. You are the first one to ever do this. You think I'm just over here having your back and building you up and helping you out for no reason? No, it's because without you here, our lives are going to go back to being shit. Like, we are new to these titles and they will take them away as fast as they gave them. You are our protection. And she tells her basically, like, your palace walls are too high. AKA, you need to step out and step on some grass. Mm-hmm. Go and see how your folk are living. Like, whose side are you on? Because all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yes.
And you need to get your shit together.
Yes.
Because we're out here suffering. I need you to come to this damn ball. And then she curtsies and is like, all right, see you later, bitch. Love you. Your hair looked great today. Now, you pissed me off, but I can't wait to see you until...
But I'm still going to be the most respectful person ever because you have the power to behead me.
See you at luncheon. Like, and I think that sometimes when you are in a high position, whether you're a woman, someone who used to be poor, person of color, or whatever, I think that sometimes you can forget where you came from or not be really paying attention because you're going to be dealing with your own issues. And I think that, like, it's not a crime to have your own issues and be focused on them. But sometimes you still have to recognize what is like a first world problem.
Yeah.
And, and what is the actual problem. And you see as she, like, after Lady Danbury leaves and she's walking through her orange garden thing, she picks this orange, feeling so great about herself. Then she's noticing, like,
where are all the men? Where are all the orange men?
And Brimsley's like, oh, we dismissed them. And she's like, you fired them? Like, you didn't tell me you were going to fire them. And he's like, yeah, well, that would have never been, that's not your business. Like, you don't want them here, so they're gone. And then I think she starts realizing, like, damn, my one word can change everything. Like, I really am the queen.
Yeah, she has, like, power to actually, like, make change and shit. She takes this to heart, and she goes to the king to basically say, look, like, our walls are high. She repeats exactly what Lady Danbury says to him.
Well, first she fucks him.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
She softens him up.
You got... I would say she hardens him up.
Well, then soft. A hardened and then soft.
A hardened and soft, yes.
So she's...
I like a little Mr. Softy after eating at Hardee's.
She has sex with him, and she just is like, listen, babe, I see you. I know why you want to be out there being Farmer George. You are leading this nation through whether it's misery or joy. It's a lot of pressure on you. And I recognize that you probably feel super caged up, because I do too. But you've got me. And it's like it's like, I think anything that happens in love is that sometimes your partner might feel less than, or they might feel stressed out, or like they're alone. And you just need to be there to remind them, like, no, I'm here with you. Whatever you're going through, I'm going through. We've got this. We're in this together. And you can turn to me to be like, listen, my shit's fucked up and I need your help, or I want to cry, or I want to just say what I can't tell anyone else, because what's the point of having a partner if you can't like bare your soul, you know?
And Reynolds and Brimsley make up with their hands.
Well, it was very sweet, because at first Brimsley goes to like, covertly touch his hand,
but then Reynolds pulls his hand away. But then afterwards he relents, and it's because, like, listen, like, there are a fine. Hey, Matt! Yay! Hey, Matt, how's it going? It's Matt from the wedding.
Yes, I remember Matt.
Okay, just making sure.
He had the cool blazer.
Yes, he had a cool blazer. Cool blazer, bruh. But yeah, like, he there's a finite amount of, like, known gays in this world at this point. Mm-hmm. If you're gay and you run into somebody who's gay, like, y'all gotta be on the same page.
But I think it's more,
and also love.
I think it's just that they're in love.
Yes. And
sometimes you know that your person's gonna fuck up sometimes.
Yeah.
You're gonna be annoyed at them.
You're gonna be annoyed and mad at them, but you're not gonna stay angry.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stay mad at them.
And I think that this shows that it's more than just like a booty call. Like, they actually both really care for each other.
Yes.
And even if he did find another rider, he wouldn't want him. He wants Brimsley.
Well, now I want to see a bros style scene with Brimsley and Reynolds, and then it's just another rider.
No, that would be cute.
That would. Well, I mean.
Wait, you mean like the bad scenes?
Yeah, like when they were fucking with
with whatever his name was,
the other couple,
John or something, and like,
Steve. Yeah, John and Steve. Oh my God, I remember that.
Steve.
Oh, he was just trying to get in where
he was giving vibes of somebody else I won't mention.
Yes, he was.
But both of the couples, they make up, they come to,
I was about to say something.
An arrangement, and then the next thing we see.
You know what my favorite Kid Cudi song is?
What?
Day and Night.
Well, it's like Day and Night with the couples. Like, the Queen and the King are finally on the same page. Yeah. Lord and Lady Danbury are at their house, excited for their first ball of the season.
People are late.
Lord Danbury is like, they ain't coming.
It reminds me of that scene from Bob's Burgers where Teddy is trying to throw a party and he's trying to get Bob to confirm.
He's like, RSVP!
He's like, I got 20 maybes, Bob. Who can account for that?
But it's like, it's not looking good. But then we get a knock at the door right as Lord Danbury is lamenting about how no one's going to come. And she said they were coming. And da-da-da-da-da. And then next thing you know, there's a knock. And people start flooding in. First of whom is that wench, Lady Ledger, Violet's mother, with all of her women. And you see, like, she walks in and is like, oh, it's so lovely to see you. And then just rushes off. And then Lord Ledger is like properly introduced himself, tells Lady Danbury that he wants to be friends, how much he likes her, and then that the Queen or the King sent a letter to the families in the town, the white ones, and was like, see you at the party. Yeah. So he was like, she's not gonna miss that. She's gonna be here with bells on to see the fucking king. And of course, Lord Danbury is like a fucking pig in shit.
Yes, he is.
He is like, all of these white people are in my house. They're looking at my things. We have a beautiful home. Da 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 da. Princess Agatha or whatever, Princess King's mom come. And, he's just like beaming from ear to ear. And when I saw his face, I was like, he's going to want to fuck her tonight.
He is going to rail her tonight. Ugh. Like, for sure. And then the dance starts, or the ball starts, I should say. And it's going well, with the only exception that nobody's mingling.
Yeah.
Like it's very segregated.
They're screaming out, miscegenation, miscegenation, and no one's listening. They're just like, we're going to stay on our sides and do our little hippity hops and skips and jumps and toe taps. But everything changes.
Would you say that was hippity hop?
It was hippity hop. That's the initial hippity hop. But the all changes when the King George and Queen C walk through, okay? The Queen looks gorgeous per usual.
As always, with her triangle beehive hairdo.
Beehive, Beyonce.
Yes.
It works.
Yes, it works. It works. And they get down on the floor. Like, no.
They get it on the floor. Get it on the floor.
They say their thank yous to Lady and Lord Danbury for hosting.
He's creaming his pants.
He is coming, like, so hard. Like, just so fucking hard. Like, like Blank Man. They finally like get down on the dance floor, and I was so happy that I heard the song before I saw what the song was called, and I was like, that's Alicia Keys! That's Alicia Keys! I
If I Ain't Got You.
Yep.
It's a beautiful song to play, especially on the
Of course, Lady Danbury got all the black hits.
Of course.
It's a cookout.
It's a bop. It's a cookout. She's invited all these white people to cookout. That's their favorite thing.
Yes, they all bought mashed potatoes and Jello casseroles.
But as the king and queen start dancing, then you see Lord Ledger go up to Lady Danbury and start dancing with her, and then you have all this interracial mixing and dancing, and they're like, finally, the great experiment is going well. The king's mom is happy because she's like, look at my boy. He looks so happy. Like, it is a good night. I will say, throughout the dance portion, I was worried that he was going to, like, kirk out and have an episode. But thankfully, he didn't. And it was very sweet.
He's good at doing the public work. Putting in a certain image.
And then, the queen's like, thank you for coming. And he's like, you never have to thank me. We're a team. And I was like, that is so sweet. You are a team. You're doing it together. But then we get another flash forward. Oh, wait. Yes. Sorry. Before we go there. The ball goes swimmingly. Everyone loves it.
Yes.
We fast forward to Lady Danbury again being railed by her husband. This time, doggy style.
Doggy style.
Her head is banging up against the headboard per usual.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the one thing that was consistent, that her head was always getting hit up against the bed.
Yeah, that's why she gave the queen that advice.
She was like, yeah, that part's really obnoxious, but, put your hand up and maybe you'll save yourself a little bit. But
it's bad on the fucking neck.
It is. You can get a concussion. They have these hard oak-ass beds.
I want to meet the people who have gotten CTE from fucking. I want to meet them.
Do you think they're porn stars or regular people?
I gotta imagine they're definitely porn stars and probably regular people. But no, probably not porn stars, because porn stars fuck at any and everywhere. It's not always on the bed.
That's true.
Sometimes on a couch, sometimes it's in a forest.
But what if you're like someone's holding you upside down and you're like being fucked outside and your head's like hitting the ground?
Oh no, but you're not like going up and down on the ground. Your head is just on the ground. Like,
oh, that's true.
You know what I mean? I had a thought in hedonism, but didn't get to pull the trigger on
it. Tell me what the thought was after.
I will.
So, as Lady Danbury and Lord Danbury are celebrating, mid-stroke, he stops. She's very confused, and she's like,
"Had a stroke.
Are you done? Are you finished? Like, not moving anymore?" And then it cuts off. We see that the queen and the king are together. They get undressed. And he's like, I could do anything with you by my side. I love you. And then he's basically like, get dressed. We're getting a snack. We're going to go fuck in my room. Like, let's go. So, like, they have their fucking. Lord and Lady Danbury doing their fucking. But the next thing you know,
Lord Danbury, he croaks during the stroke.
he's stroking and croaking at the same time.
Yes.
But, you know, he died happy. He had a smile on his face.
I wrote down that Lady Danbury got that fire. She's got that will kill a nigga's pussy.
But she, she gets off, she checks him, and then she calls her lady's maid. I think her name is Quarrel. And she's like, bitch, he's dead, bitch. I'm free.
I'm free.
And so
Freedom. George Michael's Freedom starts playing.
yes.
Freedom.
And so like Quarrel's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And they're like,
This is not a test.
they do a little jump around, and she's like, all right, go back in there. We gonna set this whole thing up. So she goes back in, pretends it's her first time seeing him, screaming. All the servants come up, and Quarrel's like, oh my God, call the doctor. Something's happened to our Lord. But you know, she did a great job acting because nobody else expected a thing. They're all just like coming to the room. They hear Lady Danbury screaming, my husband,
I had a question.
my love.
Do you think she could have saved him if she didn't like do that fucking cheery plot with the fucking maid?
Maybe, but I don't think she would have tried to save him. Even if she could, she wouldn't have tried.
Damn.
Because why? She's free.
That's some shit ass.
Do you know how many men could have been saved, but their wives just let them die because they were terrible husbands? And it would have been easier for them to go on alone. On top of, I mean, there were plenty of other wives who just killed their husbands, but like.
True.
Please.
She inherits all of the
I can
land
get
and
all my
everything like
shit. I could be here by myself. I could probably have a little boy toy on the side. Please, I will do that.
Makes
then
sense.
be stuck
That
with this
makes
man
sense.
for the rest of my
That
life.
makes sense. Yeah.
So, it's obviously, you know, a good time for her. But then we fast forward to the present, and Lady Danbury has invited Violet over to her house to apologize. Well, not so much apologize, but to explain. Because you could tell that Violet is pissed. Because she's like, oh, you know, I told you I couldn't come because I had other arrangements, and you told me you were free all week. And then I told you my carriage wasn't broken, and you brought one for me. So clearly you just thank you so much because I know you wanted to see me so bad.
And this is how much Lady Danbury is a G. Mm-hmm. She did all of this just so that she can come in, bring her ass over, and be like, look, bitch, you had a loving fucking husband. Everything I do is out of spite because I hated my bitch ass husband.
Because the only reason she was there at the church that day was because she's working on getting a home for orphan girls. And at first, Lady Danbury was thinking like, oh, you're so good. Your husband was so great. You're sponsoring home for orphan girls. I'm such a terrible widow. I'm not doing that shit. And she's like, bitch, if you would listen, I would tell you. I'm only doing this shit because my husband hated orphans and he hated girls. So what better way for me to get back at him as to create a place that he would loathe?
Yeah.
And it's very sad.
It is sad.
You know, like that she did not have, Violet had a life of luxury from start to finish. She was born a very privileged white woman.
Moonburnt. And
like she had a loving husband, all of these children that she adores.
And her children found love. Lady Danbury had a husband who just fucked her, who was just an oaf, who she hated, and then she stayed alone for.
Well, we don't know. I feel like I have some theories that Lady Danbury probably had some boy toys in secret.
Maybe.
That she probably had some, that she could never marry because, of course, like she couldn't lose her titles. Mm-hmm. But that it was like, you know, I don't think she stayed like celibate. I think she just did what she had to do and made sure that nobody heard of it. Yeah.
I don't know.
She had balls and a beautiful life. She made sure everybody else was taken care of. I think she made the best of what she had, but it was definitely not what Violet had.
Using a coal-powered dildo.
I mean, they did have dildos and vibrators at that time.
Did
they have vibrators? They had dildos, but I think that electricity hasn't been invented yet, so I don't think they have the vibrators yet. Yeah. But then we fast forward over to the Queen, and she asked Brimsley to be honest with her and be like, why are my daughters not married? Like, what's going on? And at first, she's trying to be coy and just talking about how beautiful and lovely her daughters are. And she's like, if you don't tell me the fucking truth. And he basically tells her, like, your husband...
You're kind of a spinster.
Well, not that you're a spinster, but that your husband had some sort of breakdown. When you both were very young.
Yeah.
You loved him. He loves you. So you never left his side. And your daughters don't want to leave you here by yourself taking care of him because they feel like that she's going to be alone and just dealing with him. Like, and that is being a caregiver is a very stressful. It's very stressful regardless of how much money you have. And especially being a caregiver to someone like the king, because you have to make it seem as if he's okay and not that he has dissolved into madness. And they did call King George the Mad King. So it wasn't like nobody knew. But she probably needed to make it look like he was way more healthy than he actually was, which is difficult to do in general. And then, all of that stress to put on her. So it's like, he kind of told her about herself. Like, you're calling your daughters all these names and telling them they're like old and dried up when they're really only old and dried up because of you. And she like takes what he said, but then she gets in her feelings and is like, go stand
in the corner.
Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Just stand over there. Like, I don't want to hear you breathing.
And get more color for these fucking trees. It's Christmas, goddammit!
Yeah, and it's like, then you see, like, what he's talking about, like, basically the night after the ball, after they've had sex and gone to sleep, she finds him drawing on the walls in their room, and then he runs outside naked, or runs outside, tears all his clothes off, looking for Venus, and, like, his Reynolds knows what's going on, so he tells Brimsley to clear everybody out, etc., but he just goes shouting at the moon or at the Venus, and the Queen has to be like, you know what? I'll get him inside. Like, this is my husband. Like, I'm Venus. Let's go inside. You take Venus inside and talk to her.
What do you think it was? What do you think?
I mean, he might. Like, I think
dissociative.
I don't know.
Personality disorder.
So if somebody, I don't know. It could be schizophrenia if he's hearing voices. Yeah. But with bipolar disorder, whether it's one or two, do voices or hallucinations come with that?
Not with bipolar 1, I will say.
Okay.
I think that might be schizophrenia. I know that's voices, but like delusions.
I think that's
also be
because I feel like delusions could be, I think, under several different mental health crisis. Like, I know with untreated bipolar disorder, you might become very manic and irritable and erratic. Yeah. Which I think that he is, but I think the voices and the talking to like things that aren't there, that makes me think more of schizophrenia. But honestly, even though they probably had some understanding of these things at the time, would he even be getting what kind of?
It's not like actual treatment.
I'm sure I'm sure we'll find
he
out
has some type of treatment, but like not the same way it would be today.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll find out in the next episode. They were like, I don't know, putting lye in his eyes or something ridiculous. Yeah. He always had weird treatments.
He was just munching on asbestos.
Yeah, probably. Like, they were giving him opium.
Yeah.
And so whatever he was getting
crack.
Was not something that, maybe they were giving him cocaine, because remember she had cocaine in Bridgerton. Maybe cocaine was a part of his treatments. Because she was doing cocaine.
Imagine if he was getting cocaine to even himself out.
I mean, I know as someone with ADHD, there are people who have taken cocaine as in lieu of, because maybe Adderall's more expensive, they take because it has similar like components. So it could be the cocaine.
Yeah,
that cocaine.
Cocaine.
And she just said, you know what? If it's good for you, it's good for me. Let's start taking it. Like, I need to figure out some way to get through this fucking doldrums of my life that have not now become even more so stressful because my husband is devolving into madness and I don't know how to help him. And there's no books or anything that would give me any clue how to help him. But it's sad because they haven't even been married a year. And he has, now started showing signs of mental illness that is something in a way that she can't really understand or is probably scary. So it can make sense that she just has stopped her life at 17 to revolve around this man.
Yeah. And
be his caregiver, to hold this secret for him, because regardless of what the rumors say, unless the palace says it, that doesn't make it true. Exactly. And why she's working so much harder to make sure that her children have heirs, because she doesn't want anyone else, talking negatively about her family.
Yeah.
But it's, again, this is a great series. I love it, start to finish.
How would you rate this episode?
I feel I want to give this one like an 8.5 or a 9. I feel like they keep building on every episode. We're getting more, and I like that we're getting more backstory, and getting the chance to see how the characters have all gotten to where they are.
Right.
So I'll give it 8.5.
I'll give it an 8.5 too, because I finally wrapped my. This is hold on, wait. What did I write? I says black women getting shit done. The show.
Yes.
That is the title of this show.
Black women saving the world.
Yes.
Because all of them are doing their part to try to make the world around them better.
Yes.
For not just, because it's not just for me, it's not just for you. I don't just want to have all this so that I can look cool. Like, you don't know what our life was like before you got here. And I think that one thing in the black community, regardless of where we have been, there's always this idea of lift as you climb.
Yes.
And I think that is something important for all of us to know, regardless of whether or not you're a teacher, you're a mechanic, you're an actor, you're a sports player, you're in government. You have to lift up your community as you grow higher, and try to make sure that their lives are better than yours were, if you can, versus just like selfishly wanting to grab power for the sake of grabbing power, Eric Adams, and not actually doing something to make sure that this community that you already know is going to support you, because there's no representation. Like, you have to give them a reason to respect you, and not just because you're there.
Yeah.
So I love it. I can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah, me neither. I look forward to the next episode, quite frankly. Like, I would be like, but this was a really well done episode.
Yeah.
And I'm enticed to see more. There's only 6 episodes?
I think there's only 6. We only have 3 more episodes left. And
yeah.
I want to say I like the way that they're handling his mental health.
Yes.
And the way she's responding to it. Like, she's not being repulsed. She's
trying to take care of it. She just wants to know what's going on. She just wants to be looped into, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think that as a person with mental illness, knowing that someone is going to love you through it, even if there might be things that are frustrating or annoying or scary or whatever the case may be, that you're going to have someone that's not like judging you or, trying to force you to change in a way that's kind of impossible, but someone that's there just to support you and get you through it and be like, this is weird. Whatever is going on is nothing that I've had to deal with before, but we gonna do it. Because this is what you do for the people that you love and that you care for. And hopefully they are doing their own work to ensure that they're good. But, I think this is a much better representation of a partner dealing with another partner with mental illness, because she's not acting like repulsed or yelling at him or being mean or try to like shun him, or even calling him crazy. She's just like, how can I help you? What do you need?
What is it that I can do for you?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? What can I do that no one else can do? What can I do for you? What can I do for you?
All right. Thank you for watching this week's episode. We will not be having an episode next week because your girl is going to be singing Beyonce.
And your boy will just be here asleep.
If I can get some flicks or some vids of your queen bee in Cologne, Germany, I will, I'll share them with y'all a little bit. But thank you again for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Subscribe on Anchor and everywhere else you get podcasts. Yeah. Follow us on all the things: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. What else? TikTok. The TikTokers.
The TikTokers.
The TikTokers.
Yes.
And we will see you another time.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like to contact the podcast, you can reach us via email at blackandsnerdypodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Black and Snerdy Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Black and Snerdy. You can find me, Maurice, on all social media under the handle Licorish is Legit. That's LICORISH is legit.
And you can find me on Instagram. It's that's OD THATSOD.E, and on Twitter, THATSOD_E. And don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe to us. Tune in next time to the Black and Snerdy podcast, where nerds of a feather flock together.
Remember?
Bye.
Boy.
Not yet.
No, this is keeping it. We're keeping this in. Don't forget to take your meds and your subs and drink water. Bye.
Bye.
I actually want to keep that.